everyone, and welcome back to Nubeva's channel. We're sitting here once again with Randy. We have an interesting news release to dive into here. But first off, Randy, how are you doing? Are you enjoying your time outside?
I am doing excellent, but I'm a little bit worried about my dog barking. I've been in meetings, 3 meetings this morning, and every single time my dog barks. So if you hear a 5-pound Yorkie barking, that's what it is.
Well, that's all right. He probably had something important to say. We'll have him on another time. But for today, let's dive into this news release. So you guys released a global developers license program for comprehensive network decryption. So for those who are not yet aware, can you give a summary of what it is that you guys do again?
Sure. So let me go over quickly what it is that we do, just as a summary. And last time around, in our last video, I did talk about how we arrived to this story and this idea, RIP. And so quickly summarizing, in the past, if you got a client and a server, the way IPS, IDS, firewalls, web gateways, decryption platforms, you name it, anything that wanted to see the traffic would get in between the client and the server, and that's called man in the middle. And they would gather all the data from the client, decrypt out the data, and look into it. So then you can cache ransomware, you can cache whatever you needed to cache, okay? So what has transpired in the last few years is that a lot of the different technologies like Microsoft Office, Instagram, Google Docs, for example, they really didn't want anybody to look into their data. And so they disallowed the ability to look into that. Okay? And so programs like, again, like Office, if you look into client certificates, for example, the entire federal government or local government agencies, they use a certificate method that doesn't work with man in the middle. And so that has limited visibility. So what our IP does is we will look into it with permission from either the client or the server. We will look into the memory of the system and get the keys so people can still decrypt, look into the data, but not violating anything from the application developers or server developers, et cetera, et cetera. Okay? So that's kind of the summary of what we do. And the folks that we sell to are obviously the firewalls, the 5G performance analysis folks, the IDS, IPS. What we've now realized is, and I've talked about this last time too, is not only do OEM vendors that we talk to use this type of technology or this IP, it turns out the very, very large, Fortune 10 companies themselves will now build their own firewalls, their own, sandboxing and other things to analyze what's going on. And that's not surprising because the largest of the largest are beginning to build out whatever it is that they need. So what we realize is, all these folks, what they do is they don't like us handholding them when they're going through the sales process with us. They take our technology or sample and they'll try it out. And then a few months later, when they're ready, they come back fully integrated, their product already running with our product. And they say, okay, we're interested, we're going to buy this. Okay, so that's definitely how that sales cycle goes.
Okay.
Well, that's not great for the smaller players. If you got OEM vendors or individual companies that are smaller, well, they may or may not be able to do that. And so this is what this program is here for, okay? So what this program can do is it's a developer's program where somebody CTO or DevOps folk can come to us and say, okay, I want to give it a shot. I do need a little bit more help than usual, but not a lot of help. And I want to get this going and I'll pay you to help me get it going. And then in 6 months, 12 months, once I have it fully integrated into my product, I'll come back to you and I'll convert that to a full license.
Okay.
And that's what this program is there for. It's to allow the smaller players that still want to go through the sales process of, I want to evaluate, I want to make sure this is right for me. I don't need somebody pestering me all day long, calling me about, are you going to buy next week? Are you going to do this? Are you going to do that? Nobody needs that this day and age, right? Everything's much more automated. What they want to be able to do is have our permission to give them and allow them to integrate our product into their system. And then come back, they've made demo it to their executives, customers, their board, et cetera. And they come back to us and say, okay, this is ready. We love this. This is ready to go. And so that's what this developer licensing program is for.
I got you. So it's good. So you saw what the customer base was asking for, and you found a way to decrease friction for people across multiple sizes of businesses. So then tell me more about the 4-fee aspect of this. What kind of deal have you worked out with these people?
So in general, what it means is they're paying essentially for 6 months. So typically licensees are 3 years, 5 years. They'll license the technology, pay us, based on use, and also at the same time based on how much they sell to their own customers. Right. So what this allows them to do is they don't have to commit to a 3-year, 5-year program. They can actually commit to a 6-month program with us, and they can convert that with an understanding that once they complete that 6 months, they can convert that to a full license.
Okay,
so,
that makes sense.
So what we're talking about is somewhere around, maybe if you look at a 3-year 3-year deal, 6 months license for this purpose. It's about 1/6, 1/6 to 1/10 or so. That's probably what we're talking about.
Okay, and so this again, this shows you guys' flexibility and willing to work with people. Does this guy? How does this? Tell me how this synergizes into your guys' already set up plan.
Yeah, sure. So if you look at what we've been doing, we've been licensing to OEM larger partners that they themselves have either a cybersecurity product or a 5G performance analysis program with their customers themselves. What this allows us to do is not just sell to the largest players. The reality is we sell software, so this is very high margin business. It's fully automated. So in general, even the largest of the largest, if I had to look at how many support tickets in general we get, the largest customer we have had literally 2 support tickets this entire year. I think we're now in June. So 6 months, we've had 2 support tickets. So in general, just people don't reach out to us until they need something. And that just frankly doesn't happen very often. And so what we want to do is what we realize is this isn't just, obviously when we started, we knew this was suited for the largest players because that's how we got started. We realized when the largest players, including the Chevrons of the world that invested in us, they gave us feedback. But after that, what we realized is, well, this is fully automated. Why does it have to be going to the largest players? It can go to a smaller set of entities. And what we realize is this is important enough that even the smaller entities, not your Fortune 50 companies, will still spend 6 figures per year on something like this.
Okay.
And so it's if you look at it from a percentage of their revenue, the smaller players are actually much more willing to pay a much larger percentage of their revenue to us versus a large company that may be doing hundreds of millions or billions of dollars in revenue. But the reality is most of the time they're gonna write a 7-figure deal per year basis, and that's about it. For it to go to an 8-figure per year deal is extremely unlikely in the enterprise world. And so we actually can get a larger chunk of the whole pie by going to many more smaller deals. And that's really what.
Interesting. That's surprising to see that the consumer demand wasn't exactly just sticking with those top like Fortune 10 companies. It turns out the software is so useful and versatile that people of all size companies are still interested in it. Randy, is there anything else you want to add about the news release before we go?
No, that's about it. Thank you for having me. I'm glad my dog stayed quiet.
Like I said, we'll have him on next time and see what he has to say about the company. But for now, Randy, thank you for coming on, and we'll get you guys some updates again as soon as we can. If you have any questions, shoot them over to us. We'll be happy to answer them. Randy, enjoy your time outside.
You too. Thank you.